Wow. Welcome back. One of my very favorite lessons today, and one that I use all the time with my freedom of forgiveness, my practice of Ho'oponopono, and A Course in Miracles put together. Lesson 47, God is the strength in which I trust. So let's get right into this lesson. This one is a really pivotal in understanding that within me is the strength of God. So God is the strength in which I trust. If you are trusting in your own strength, you have every reason to be apprehensive, anxious, and fearful. What can you predict or control? What is there in you that can be counted on? What would give you the ability to be aware of all the facets of any problem and to resolve them in such a way that only good can come of it? What is there in you that gives you the recognition of the right solution and the guarantee that it will be accomplished? Of yourself, you can do none of these things. To believe that you can is to put your trust where trust is unwarranted, and to justify fear, anxiety, depression, anger, and sorrow. Who can put his faith in weakness and feel safe? Yet, who can put his faith in strength and feel weak? God is your safety in every circumstance. His voice speaks for him in all situations and in every aspect of all situations, telling you exactly what to do to call upon his strength and his protection. There are no exceptions because God has no exceptions. And the voice which speaks for him thinks as he does. Today, we will try to reach past your own weakness to the source of real strength. 4 5-minute practice periods are necessary today, and longer and more frequent ones are urged. Close your eyes and begin as usual by repeating the idea for the day. God is the strength in which I trust. Then spend a minute or two in searching for situations in your life which you have invested with fear, dismissing each one by telling yourself, God is the strength in which I trust. Now, try to slip past all concerns related to your own sense of inadequacy. It is obvious that any situation that causes you concern is associated with feelings of inadequacy. For otherwise, you would believe that you could deal with the situation successfully. It is not by trusting yourself that you will gain confidence, but the strength of God in you is successful in all things. The recognition of your own frailty is a necessary step in the correction of your errors, but it is hardly a sufficient one in giving you the confidence which you need and to which you are entitled. You must also gain an awareness that confidence is in your real strength is fully justified in every respect and in all circumstances. In the latter phase of the practice period, try to reach down into your mind to a place of real safety. You will recognize that you have reached it if you feel a sense of deep peace, however briefly. Let go all the trivial things that churn and bubble on the surface of your mind and reach down and below them to the kingdom of heaven. There is a place in you where there is perfect peace. There is a place in you where nothing is impossible. There is a place in you where the strength of God abides. During the day, repeat the idea often. Use it as your answer to any disturbance. Remember that peace is your right because you are giving your trust to the strength of God. So in this lesson, we move from the idea of trusting our own strength, this idea of a warrior, I must do it all by myself. I know what's best. And yet, so many times I've seen where I think I know what's best, and it doesn't turn out the way I think. And how can I possibly know what is best for every situation, for every person? So, what I feel may be the best for me, in the end, may turn out not to be. And what I think may be the best for myself or for someone else can turn out to be the wrong path for the overall good of the situation. So it's pretty clear in the first paragraph that we do not know what anything is for. That what is there in me that gives me the recognition of the right solution and the guarantee that it will be accomplished. So there is no guarantee within my own mind, my own ego thoughts. And so to believe that I can put my trust where trust is not warranted is the reason that I feel this fear, this anxiety, depression, anger, and sorrow. And yet in paragraph 3, we're told that God is our safety in every circumstance, and that his voice speaks for him in all situations. And the voice which speaks for him thinks as he does. It's the Holy Spirit. Today, we are moving from this idea that I have to do it by myself, that I know what's right, that I know what anything is for, and moving into the faith and the trust that God's plan is infinitely better than my own, that God can see the whole picture, not just from my narrow perspective. So as we repeat the idea for the day, 5 minutes, 4 times, God is the strength in which I trust. We're asked to be specific. We're asked to bring specific thoughts to mind. Anything that causes us concern is associated with this feeling of fear, of inadequacy, of not knowing what's right for the situation. But the strength of God in me, the strength of God in you, is successful in all things. And that is why the strength of God is what I trust. So this recognition that my own perspective is very narrow, guarded, and conditioned by my past, by my perception of the future, is what opens up the floodgates to peace, this understanding that God has the strength, that God is the strength in which I trust. And as we sink into this place, we also gain an awareness to have confidence in our own real strength, which is fully justified. And our own real strength is the place within us where the strength of God abides. So the lesson tells us to let go all the trivial things that churn and bubble on the surface of your mind. You know what I mean. The groceries, the oil change on the car, the next meeting at work, what I should be doing rather than being. And as we reach down below these thoughts that churn and bubble, We recognize this place within us where there is perfect peace, where nothing is impossible. This is the place where the strength of God abides. So I use this lesson so frequently whenever I'm unsure, whenever I catch myself thinking I know what's right for someone else or for myself. God is the strength in which I trust. And this remembrance, remember that peace is your right because you are giving your trust to the strength of God. So, 4 practice periods of 5 minutes each today are what's asked of us, as well as frequent repetitions and practice of this throughout the day. So, whenever something comes up to tempt me into going down the twists and turns, into the thoughts that churn and bubble, repeating this principle. God is the strength in which I trust. Feels very grounding. It feels very firm. And it also directs me to listen to that voice that is within me, beneath all the churning and bubbling thoughts, to connect with this inner wisdom, this voice for God, this strength of God that is within each of us. So today I will work on a little bit more being than doing. Just taking that moment to be before I move into the to-do list. And the repetition of this idea as I go through all of the daily things that I have to do, the dishes and the oil change. God is the strength in which I trust. Have a great day. Love to all. See you tomorrow.